Hi there, welcome to MTurk Guide. Today I don't have screenshots or slides or anything fancy schmancy for you. The reason being I just wanted to do a quick video and talk about the fact that I had the best day today Turk-wise that I've had in a long time, at least in a couple of months, in that I broke $100 for today in terms of pending earnings. I've done this a couple of times. I think once back in January, I recall, and maybe April or May. So I was pretty stoked about that. And I just wanted to discuss it and tell you what hits I did today to get to that and how long it took me and all that. So very quickly, if you're looking at my dashboard right now, and if my dashboard looks different from your dashboard, it's because I'm using scripts. And the scripts are putting a lot of this here, the today's projected earnings, today's bonuses, and then these other day and week projected earnings, and then all this down here, this red, yellow, green, and this numbering down here in terms of worst and best case scenario. That's all generated by scripts, as is this whole hit database MK2. I've discussed this in another webcast, so I'm really not going to go that far into it. But if you're looking at this going, why does hers look so different? It's because I'm running scripts. And the reason that I run these, especially around the goals, is that I'm very goal oriented. So for me, it's just motivating to see how I'm doing against the goal that I've set for myself. So if that's not your thing, I think less scripts is better when you can get away with it. So if that is not your thing, then, definitely don't jump and go do that. But anyways, so what did I do to get to 100 plus today? So again, because I have this breakdown because I'm running a script. But so my today projected earnings details, I did 165 hits for something called Noblest CV, and that netted me at 82.50. I did 123 Zoltars, which I've talked a lot about. Those are 12 cents each, so that was $14.76. And then I did a couple surveys. This Andrea Dittman one was $3. It took me half an hour. And then Ashley Martin was about, I want to say it was 10 minutes, and that was 75 cents. So definitely, decent pay. At that point, I did these two surveys long after I had finished the rest of this. So I was like, oh, everything else is gravy. So, and no bonuses today. So anyways, talking a little bit about Noblest CV. So Noblest, the hits today that I did today were actually bounding faces and pictures. So like drawing little boxes around faces. And there's a whole bunch of criteria about if there's so many faces, it's a crowd. And you can't see this or that, nothing really difficult once you get kind of a groove going with them. I'd say that each hit took me about a minute to a minute and a half, depending on, how many photos had a lot of people or whatever. There was a lot of factors, but I was flying through them pretty quickly. I turked all day today from about 8 to about 5, but not straight. I'm home with 3 kids. And so, I can pop on and maybe get like 45 minutes at a shot done before somebody needs something. So, I don't go straight. I know there's a lot of people out there that do. I don't. I take breaks all through the day. That's why sometimes I'll be turking at night and things like that. But so for these Noblest ones, actually, it required a qualification. And when I looked at the hit today, they didn't really have any qualifications around like location or anything. It was all this qualification hit, or the score on a qualification test. So the way they had done it a while back was they put a test out there, and it was a qualification test. You took the qualification test, and it was graded. And if you got, it was, I think, out of 100, and if you got 90 or above, then you had the qualification. And the qualification test could be retaken after 60-second delay. So you finished it, and if you failed it or you didn't get the required 90, you could wait 60 seconds and start it all over again. So it was pretty liberal policy on it. But the good thing about me having that qualification was that when these hits popped up today, it showed up right on my hit scraper and I was able to dive right in. For the people that didn't have the qualification, they had to go through the process of taking that qualification test. Now, some requesters will put out a qualification, gather all the people who meet the qualification, and then shut down the qualification test and then put the hits out. So don't always count on the idea that, oh, I won't do this qualification test now because it'll be there when the hits come out. Not always true. It was true in this case. So a lot of people were able to come on board today and do these, but certainly, don't rely on that. So I'm going to do other webcasts about qualifications and how you find them and whatever. But I'm going to leave it at this for this particular video and saying that if you see a hit that's a qualification hit, it's got qualification on the title or in the description, it says, do 5 of these or 10 of these to gain a qualification for better paying hits. As always, definitely look at the TO rating. Just make sure that, you're not spending your time on a qual hit for a requester that doesn't have a good reputation. And know that at times requesters will ask you to do a handful of them for no pay. And you obviously would be immediately turned off to that unless you know, like I do, that the potential is there for greater money making opportunities either now, that day, or in the future. So you definitely want to look at it and give it some thought, but you don't want to wait too long because qualification hits go quickly. People see it and they're like, oh, some people hoard qualifications, whether they want them or not. Having a bunch of qualifications doesn't hurt you in any way. If you do the qualification test and then you realize the requester isn't anything to write home about, or you're not comfortable with the hits or whatever, you're not obliged to do them. But qualifications is another thing that will help you on your journey in terms of money making opportunities. And so these are qualifications that you can action, in a short-term way is what I'm trying to say, because the qualification, hit comes out and it's a test and you do it and you're done. You either passed or you didn't. In some cases though, just to be clear, there are qualification tests that are one-time deals. So you only have one shot at getting it right. And, you should know that up front. But other qualifications that you might be held to are more long-term qualifications, like your approval rating, your number of hits, that type of thing. And then there's qualifications that, very rarely are going to change, right? So like your location in terms of country, your state, if you're in the United States, your state may change, but it's not very often that your country is going to change. It may, but it's not a regular thing. And so, those are your more static qualifications. So, you can see they're kind of 3 categories. And, these qualification on a requester basis are more qualifications that you can grab on the fly and could turn into good money making opportunities for you. Is essentially what happened for me today. Was that I had this qualification, I jumped in, I was able to do it periodically throughout the day, and I was able to end up at 101 for today. So, which was great for me. But that's all I'm going to say for today. I have a bunch of other stuff that I'm going to be sharing with you guys around earnings. As I've said, another webcast, some earnings from my friends at MTurk. And then there's some other webcasts coming up around qualifications, blocks. And I think I've got a few other requests from folks, which I'm so happy to do. So please definitely let me know if there's something you want to see me walk through, whether it be a specific hit or anything really, anything that's MTurk related. I would definitely love to hear it. I want to hear any feedback you have. So definitely comment, like, subscribe, talk to me. I always talk back within hopefully a reasonable amount of time. But I appreciate you joining, and I will be back soon with more turking information. So until then, happy turking, everybody.